I'm excited. Thank you. I appreciate you taking time to meet with me. It's not scripted at all. It's just a conversation about how your experience working with me and what people can expect and what was going on and just so people can have an idea. Let me just make sure that this is working. And I'm gonna go live the following week. I'm gonna go live. I have a great topic that I want to talk about. Um, yeah. How are you? Oh, look at you with
I'm
red. I
good.
was thinking about wearing red too.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Can you hear
can.
me? Okay,
Yes.
good, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
You look nice, huh?
Yeah,
Is
no,
that a new
I
top? I
told
love that
it
color.
is it is a new top. I went shopping with my daughter and I bought all red shirts. So
Good. Good. I
how'd you
love
like
that
this
one.
one?
That one looks so cute on you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll get started. So I want to just start by thanking you for meeting with me, Lucy. Everyone, this is Lucy Robin. She is a long-standing client that I have enjoyed working with and being on her health and wellness journey. So what I would like is for her to kind of share what brought her to me, what she's got, what she's gotten out of it, and what other people can expect. And with all that being said, it's Lucy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. In large part thanks to you.
Aw, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. So tell me a little bit about yourself in terms of you know, personal work, family. Give us a
Yeah,
little bit.
sure. So I'm 57 now. I'm married. I have three children. And for a long time, I was an executive in a market research firm. I actually just very recently retired, just in the last couple of months. So that's new for me. Um, yeah, so that's me. Was working mom for many, many years. And now I'm empty nester, retired empty nester. So that's that's my new reality.
Absolutely. Well, I want to congratulate you. I know I've been counting down with you. Well, actually, not really counting down, but I'm so happy to see this phase of your life and see the transition. And I think it's doing you well. As I always said, you have a really full life, so I didn't really think that it'd be much of a transition for you. Well, how has it been? Let me not make too many assumptions.
It's been absolutely fantastic. I love it. I mean, I my days feel full, but they feel, like my time is my own. I'll literally just be like, what do I feel like doing now? And then I'll like go do that thing. So it's really nice.
Oh my goodness, asking yourself what you feel like doing and then actually doing it. Who would have thought wow, honoring yourself, honoring your nervous system, honoring your needs. So you have plenty of time to do that now. So how did you find me?
I did just a Google search. I was for functional nutrition. That's how I found you.
Hmm,
Because that's what I felt like I'd been struggling with. I'd been working with a personal trainer pretty consistently for many, many years. So I felt like I had a pretty good handle on exercise. Um, but I sort of thought I knew what healthy eating looked like, but I had during the kind of post-COVID lockdown phase, um, partly because of that, partly because of the lockdown, and partly because of work stress and other things. I had gained a lot of weight, and anything that I was trying nutrition wise just didn't seem like it was helping at all with me to get my weight back to a place that I was happy with. So I thought I need somebody who knows about nutrition that can help me. And I certainly came across, certainly found more people. You weren't the only first person that came up, but of everybody that I looked at, you looked like somebody who, first of all, knew what she was talking about when it came to the nutrition piece, but also had a well-rounded approach um, with the personal training and just weight loss coaching and everything. And I think you were emphasizing perimenopause, postmenopause age range, which is of course where I was heading into. So I just thought it would be a good fit. So
Absolutely. So, you had the fitness down and you were looking for help with nutrition, and you found me because kind of comprehensive and you felt like I would be, it would be beneficial. And so, yeah, I remember meeting you and I remember just, yeah, I felt like a heavier energy and just like a stressed nervous system. And that happens in life because a lot of times we have to kind of meet the demands of work or responsibilities, and then we don't have the luxury of being able to honor our needs and where we are and kind of strike that balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And I do view that as part of the service I provide is helping people balance their nervous system and be in their body. And I find that with training, I know that we met and we did start off doing fitness once a week because we were going to focus on corrective type work. And so before you share that experience, I just want to kind of present what I get from doing assessments and training people. Because, yes, it is fitness and there are benefits of exercise, getting stronger, getting leaner. But when people exercise, it informs me about a lot of things about the relationship that they have with their body, about the relationship that they have with their life. Are they cooperative? Are they collaborative? Are they making demands? And what I find is that, especially because I do specialize in working with women who are in perimenopause and menopause, is this is a phase of life where making demands doesn't work. You sort of have to kind of work with your body and honor it, and then less is more and be really strategic. So I just wanted to present that about why, even with everything else that I do, I think I'm going to keep the fitness component because it gives me that real life, real time feedback, and it provides a lot of insights. So met, we talked about what? Do you even remember? I'm trying to think.
Well, I mean, I remember that like I explained to you what I was looking for, and one of the things you suggested to me is that we start working out together once a week. I said I had this relationship with another personal trainer, and so we agreed it made sense for me not to drop that, but for me to just come work with you once a week. And as you explained, it would just be beneficial in addition to me getting the benefits of, your expertise as a on the personal training side, just to make sure that we were, I don't know, it was gave you a better sense of where I was and how things were going. And it's been fantastic. It's worked out really well for me to balance both of those things. But anyway, back to your question, which was when we first met. I mean,
Mhm.
what my memories of those meetings are, first of all, that you were very intuitive, like that you were just like, I mean, you said to me like you're in a lot of pain, and I didn't realize like, and I can laugh about this now because we know my pain tolerance is crazy,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I like left. I was like, no, I'm not, in the first session, and then I left, and I really kind of keyed in throughout the following week to how much pain I was actually in, um, and just how hard it was for me to just move my body. And you saw that right away. And to this day, if I walk in, you're like, "What's the matter?" If something's the matter, so you can always tell. So I was really kind of impressed by that. It's just like you were picking up on things that I was just not tuned into at all. Um, so yeah, so we started on a program of both. Um, uh, there was we did kind of nutritional support, right? So like supplements, things like that,
Mhm.
working out, and then it took a while, I think, and it was for me partly. I think it was I just had to be ready for it, but it took a while for the food part of things to really come together for me.
Mhm.
Um, but we addressed a lot of other things in the meantime, even just like breathing correctly when I was working out, and things like that. Just like you're saying, honoring what my body was able to do and working with it and not against it, things like that. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I do find that the way people move is it certainly provides insights and a lot of times that's why asking someone whether they're in pain is I mean, pain is subjective and people's tolerance are vary. So, and then if that's the case and some of it is we're not conscious of, then we can focus on the inputs that we can be conscious and intentional about. And that's sort of looking at movement and improving movement quality because when you do that then there's less friction and less friction means less inflammation and so that is a component and I like to start with that because change is tough especially around nutrition. I find that starting with exercise and getting a little rhythm going and addressing movement and pain that way then that lends itself to adopting additional habits for change. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about your exercise, because I know we focused a lot on corrective work, corrective exercise, because you were fit, you were strong, you've been exercising for a long time, but after doing the assessment, I noticed that you had some dysfunction in your movement patterns, and I do find that that is something that is important to address because it's not necessarily about being strong, but it's more about quality. And I like to say it's the body taking, we want the body to take the highway, not the back roads. And yeah, so you're taking a lot of back roads. And so so we had to so you were still able to get to your destination, right? But we just wanted, I just want to get you on the highway. And so it was certainly slow with that. But do you want to add anything to the fitness thing or?
um, to the fitness piece, no, I just, yeah, I would just echo that. I feel like I I'm just sort of much more, my form is much better now than it used to be. And I kind of, I feel like I understand more about the right way to be moving my body, even if I'm not with you, if
Hmm.
I'm working out on my own or
Hmm.
as you know, I just started doing Couch to 5K. So even,
Hmm.
just, I just feel like I'm more, having worked with you, like the focus on, um, you know, the the correct form and the what's going to work best for my body, for me specifically, has been really helpful.
Okay, so you mentioned nutrition. So nutrition is complicated because it's not about foods being healthy. I always say that. So tell me a little bit, 'cause that was the primary reason you sought me out was to get help around nutrition. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Um, well, again, I felt like it was something I knew and I understood because it's something I'd, you know, a woman of my generation is gonna have spent a lot of time thinking about what's healthy and what the right thing is to eat. But clearly, it wasn't working. So one of the things I really liked about your approach is that it's very data driven. And my career is basically, like, a big piece of my career was being a data scientist. So I love data. I love using data to reach a recommendation. So we collected a lot of data from my body in various ways. Um, and you helped me to go through the assessments that we did and understand what they were. And you put together a comprehensive plan of um, you know, supplement support, vitamins, whatever else that would be helpful for my gut health and for my overall uh, health. And then we identified foods that were going to be it cause inflammatory response or not make my gut feel good. And identified things that I didn't realize that I was reactive to. So it was really, helpful Like I thought I was fine with gluten, and it turned out when I started avoiding gluten, I started feeling much, much better. Um, things like that. So so yeah, so it was a process. It took a while to kind of um to figure out what I needed and then forget to get me kind of really rolling on following a program that was going to work for me. But once I really kind of clicked into it, it went really quickly. And my weight loss went very, very quickly and very satisfactorily. So, and it wasn't just weight loss, it was just like overall feeling better, more energy, just my gut feeling better, all that stuff too.
And also the pain aspect. I'm very
Mm,
sensitive to pain. It's not necessarily, I have a high pain threshold myself, but to other people being in pain. So I can sense that. And I strive to help relieve that. So that's sort of one of the things that when I say you're lighter, it's kind of just all of that, not just
yeah.
physically lighter, but like
I should
everything,
say that was,
and physically lighter, but like just lighter and more in your body. I think to me that's the most rewarding because you can have goals, but I have goals for you that.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and another thing we haven't talked about is my shoulders and how messed up my
Mm.
shoulders were when I came to you. So I had come out of, I had impingement syndrome actually in both of my shoulders. So that's when all the nerves that are going through this one channel all get pinched because of things being out of alignment. And I'd been through physical therapy and that had helped a lot, but it had gotten me, I don't know, 75% better or something. But I still had this 25% that was um, pretty bad. And I think one of my shoulders had gotten worse post one. I'd really had been treated on one shoulder. My other shoulder had started to get worse. And you worked with me very diligently on my shoulders and got them back to, if not 100%, then 95% to a place where I don't, in my day-to-day activities, I don't notice any discomfort at all. Um, so that was incredibly helpful as well.
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up because it helps me to highlight my why I do training and what I want clients or everyone to get out of it. And I do believe exercise is medicine, um, and that the body is kind of like a house, and 100-year-old, not saying you're 100, but 100-year-old house can look beautiful if you just give it what it needs and support it. And that's the same as the body. And so, when you identify through assessments someone's dysfunctional movement pattern and you support it, then you're going to improve movement. And then coupled with the optimizing nutrition, because as I said before, it's not about managing pain is about managing friction and then also reducing inflammatory markers in the body so that there's less pain signals sent to the brain. So understanding that and, through training, through education, through personal experience, I sustained, we talked about it, a serious leg injury that left me immobile. And when you're not able to move, you feel so vulnerable. And I don't, I want to affirm people and I don't want people to be vulnerable. Like that is whatever I can do to support that. And I think what enables someone to not be vulnerable is to have their mental faculties and then to also be able to move. I mean, those are the things that I want for all of my clients. And so that's why, in terms of exercise, yes, the traditional goals of strength and weight loss are always there, of course, because I'm vain and we have to look good. We want to feel good, but we have to look good too. Like it's no, it's all important. But yeah, so that's why, with exercise, regardless of if the client has tells me they want to move better, I that's part of what I'm trying to deliver is because when you establish that, then as someone ages, throughout their lifetime, then they're able to maintain better quality, better movement. It's not just this random thing that you just age and decline. That's not how it happens. So you really, again, to that house analogy, you really have to, assess it and then support it. And then, and the more you do that, and the more collaborative you are with your body, and if you have needs, you rest, and you don't push more, then the more it delivers for you. It may not deliver that moment, but it will deliver, and then the more it can deliver for you. So that's why it's really important to focus on movement, because it's not just in your present state now. I'm always thinking about lifespan when I work with people, and doing getting into this whole field was that car accident. It was so devastating. And I didn't even know if I was gonna like overcome it and not be have chronic pain, and being 19 years old and just feel and not being able to literally put any weight on my leg, and just for like 6, 7 months. It was, but then learning, and that's so a lot of what I do is from personal experiences, from like healing myself and then wanting to give what I have gained or learned and helping other people experience it too. So I don't want to ramble too much, but yeah, it's very rewarding when I hear things like that, because it's definitely what I want for you. Yeah, so that kind of ties in to the functional work that we did together, because as I said, I look at people through lifespan, and I'm now actually even looking at the prenatal experience too. It's so fascinating, and and I would like to be supportive with doctors in that regard too, because I don't really feel like there's any type of support in that area. I think the standards of do no harm is very low when it comes to um, um, the perinatal experience or with of the mother. And there are a lot of things that are chalked up to genetics. I'm not talking about you in particular, but just in terms of looking at lifespan, there's a lot of things that are chalked up to genetics that we can influence. So, because I truly believe in epigenetics, and in epigenetics, about genes being able to turn on or off. So anyway, so that's the perinatal part, and we didn't really work in that regard. But in terms of the lifespan, I then look at mental faculty, and one of the ways to support that is through ensuring that your brain has a lot of energy, because any type of disorder or dysfunction at that level it's around energy inputs, and output too. But you certainly want to get enough input. And so we did work around functional health. And for those out there that are not sure about what that is, it's essentially looking at the body as a whole orchestra, and then having so the so it has all the players, and then you might experience a dysfunction somewhere, but it's tough to know which player is dysfunctional, or how it's dysfunctional, or how it's influencing the other players. Is it making the other players play faster or slower? So because it's impossible to know, and because the belief is that in functional health, that if you support the body will heal itself, you don't chase symptoms. So what you want to do is take a step back and look at all the body's systems, the hormonal system, the immune system, digestive system, detoxification system, energy systems, and nervous systems, and then identify opportunities for the body to heal. And you support it. And when you do that, the body heals itself. So I get some of that information from assessments, and also from doing lab testing, and that was what you touched upon. So we did the lab testing around the functional health, and so it was inflammatory. It correlated with how you were feeling, and then so we did support your gut and um, and optimize hormones um, and support the liver as well. And the reason I'm touching upon that is because I do believe the liver is critical to the lifespan, especially end of life. And my humble opinion of health is that optimal health is having optimal blood sugar regulation, and then also optimal liver function. And I find that most people don't have optimal liver function. The standard for the allopathic system, a Western system, is very low. Again, it's that do no harm. It's valuable, don't get me wrong, and I'm not anti the system at all. I have family who are in the system and who are in healthcare, but unfortunately, it's not built for preventative and proactive care. And so what I that's my vision of what I want to do, is to collaborate with the doctors, and that's what I currently do now. Is I'm not obviously a doctor, so I'm not replacing doctors, but I am able to sound the alarm a lot of times for clients. And I'm also able to, when the doctor has implemented like a protocol um, or medications, I'm able to monitor in real time what's going on with that client, because a lot of times the doctor's waiting to see values before they can act. But when my standard or functional health standards is optimal care, then you're able to intervene much sooner because the objective is is different. And so to me, everything's all connected, right? So it's all about lifespan. And so optimizing blood sugar and optimizing the liver. And we did that for you. Talk a little bit about the liver protocol. Because it's, the liver is, yeah.
Um, well, I mean, in a way, it's not for the faint of heart, right? Just because, you're committing to some number of months
Mhm,
and there's like certain times a day that you have to take certain things, but that's all you're doing. You're just supplementing with, so it's not like you have to go on some crazy diet or
mhm,
eliminate foods or inject something or something like that. It's just pills and drops. It's not that big of a deal. But I will say for me, and we kind of figured this out in retrospect, um, I went on a really heavy duty medication um, uh, for my skin. It was the Accutane for my skin. Anybody out there who's ever dealt with Accutane, it's no joke, and um, it really does a number on your liver, but on all of your systems. And we we were overlapping the protocol with the Accutane. And then the protocol ended, and I had it was a little bit unclear when I was going to finish with the Accutane. And I wound up having to go stay on it for 2 or 3 more months after we were done with the protocol. And it wasn't until we were done with the liver protocol that I started to get symptoms really from that, other than like dry lips.
mhm.
Um, and you and I in retrospect were like, you know, that protocol was really protective. Um, and of the Accutane for me. So I'd recommend for anybody else who might be doing this to stay on the protocol longer. Um, but I have no doubt that it was incredibly helpful to me. And now, as I'm done with the Accutane, and I'm in that kind of post Accutane period where I'm working out of my body, I'm back on the protocol, and I think it's really helping me to clear it more effectively. And I'm to the point now where I'm really not feeling any symptoms anymore at all. Um, so I think it's been really helpful. And I got my husband to do it too. So
That is awesome. So how is it avoiding gluten? Because that's that's all the fun stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, it seems really overwhelming, but it's mostly fine. I mean, every once in a while, it's like something is, there's something on the table, or you're making your kids pancakes or something, and you're just like, it's hard. But there's lots of really good food out there, and there's lots of, now these days, restaurants almost always have options that are marked as gluten-free, so you can feel pretty confident that you can get something gluten-free. I don't really miss it most of the time. So it hasn't been that hard for me. And
absolutely.
and
And
the payoff's really, it's all about the payoff. Like I feel a lot better if I avoid it. So I just have to remind myself of that.
absolutely. Because a lot of times people think gluten is like innocuous and it's just a substance, but it's it's not, again, it's not whether things are healthy or not. It's how your body identifies it, and how it reacts to the proteins in it. And everyone, regardless of whether you have symptoms or not, is reacting to gluten because it's very inflammatory. But the severity of the symptoms vary from people. I've had people, you know, like stop having migraines from stopping gluten. So it really depends on your body and how your immune system responds to gluten. So we were able to identify that because what a lot of people don't realize is, gluten correlates with a lot of autoimmune conditions. And so and for me personally, I don't have any symptoms when I eat gluten. I mean, I've tried to track it. I haven't like recognized it. But when I tested, I have increased like mediator release from gluten. So I'm not at the threshold of allergy, but I am at a threshold of a significant elevation in inflammation. And so it doesn't really matter whether or not I have any symptoms because one of the things that we all need to do to optimize our health is to lower inflammation in our body, whether we feel the symptoms or not. But for some people, the reaction is severe enough to trigger responses. For some clients, it causes damage to the intestines, the small intestines, or the large intestines particularly. And I've seen that happen. I've seen it correlate with rheumatoid arthritis. I've seen it correlate with a whole host of autoimmune colitis. Um, and I've seen it correlate with a whole host of autoimmune conditions. So I want to kind of put that out there that if you're dealing with autoimmune, definitely, I think it's like a 40% correlation or causation or correlation with autoimmune conditions. It, if you have an autoimmune condition, you're like 30 or 40% more likely to be sensitive at minimum to gluten. So it is
Yeah.
something that everyone should check out. And then not only look at allergy, because you go to your doctor, they're gonna say, oh, you're not allergic. However, again, it's about the thresholds and about the do no harm. So you could have elevated um, mediators, but they're not testing for that. They're testing for antibodies. And because they're testing for that, then they're gonna tell you that everything's fine. So
Yeah. And I have an autoimmune disorder. I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and had never heard about this correlation before. It would have been nice to know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I, part of our ongoing work is getting to that root of it. And because you kind of go to the doctor and they look at values of levels of the different hormones, but they're not looking at the actual attack that's going on. Like because even if those levels are within range or not, it doesn't change the fact that your body's building antibodies. So we kind of want to one of the things that I'm hopeful for is that by avoiding the gluten and maybe providing your body with a little bit more support, that we can help to, I mean, I don't think they say cures, but get it in remission and have it be dormant. I yeah, I've seen that happen, and I do think that I do think not just the gluten, but overall, um, your nervous system is more optimized because autoimmune and stress, and anything inflammatory, and oxidation in the body, it's all correlates. And a lot of times, whenever I work with people with autoimmune conditions, I always ask them what happened like 6 months prior to like the first time you experienced it. And it's usually some stressful event. It's usually something that was like really, really stressful. I mean, it's not like I think it builds over time, but then people kind of reach this point, and it's usually about 6 months. I don't know why, but it's usually about around 6 months, and then that condition kind of comes in.
Well,
So,
I was diagnosed postpartum, so mine was, pregnancy and childbirth.
mhm. Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
Is that all? Yeah. So yeah, it's a stress response. And yeah, so again, to remove stress, we want to work on our nervous system, optimizing it, and removing o- anything that raises oxidation in our body. So anything inflammatory, we want to support our systems, and we also want to optimize our nervous system. And I don't think people focus on the nervous system enough, in terms of its role in in a whole host of conditions, and then especially even in changing behavior. You really need a regulated nervous system for you to adopt something long term. Because then it starts to feel good in your body. Because even if you're practicing all these like healthy behaviors and you're getting the results, if you're not regulated, it's not gonna stick, because I don't think I think it's not like a conscious thing when we're doing habits. And I talk about this because I'm a health and wellness coach and habit formation and behavior modification. And so what I find is that, in order for people to adopt habits and change behavior, it has to they like they have to feel it at the level of their nervous system. I don't know if I can even explain it um more than that. And so it's like when you help somebody, support somebody in oops when you support somebody in yeah, when you support someone in optimizing their nervous system, then they can clearly make choices about what they want. And then most importantly, about the path to take to get there. Because when you're supporting someone in forming habits, you're not telling people what to do, you're meeting them where they are. And my goal is always for adherence. So when I'm disseminating information, I'm always thinking about implementation. I always think about it because I don't just feel good about, oh, you said just like you had this awesome idea, and no, I want the implementation too. It's just as important. I would even modify the idea or the recommendations if I feel like there's limitations in the implementation, because I do think that you do have to take everything into consideration, because in the end it's the results that is most important. I know I kind of just like rambled a little bit, but yeah, I wanted to touch upon the behavior modification piece, because that is something that because I've been certified maybe about 12 years or so, and that was a complete game changer. I found was understanding habit formation and behavior change and the limitations, and then how to meet people where they are, and then also how to help people have compassion for themselves and honor needs. And that's something that a lot of people, a lot of other providers, I think that really differentiates me from other providers, because a lot of people who are coaches, they're just knowledgeable about a topic, but just because you're knowledgeable doesn't mean that you can coach, because coaching is an actual science. It's a framework, and that you move people through. And so I guess I'm just saying, look for a coach, like a legit
Yeah.
coach too, because that is the biggest barrier to change. Because a lot of
Yeah.
times people know what to do.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, we actually did we embarked upon
Hmm.
a set an actual weight loss coaching
Hmm.
set of sessions.
Hmm.
Um, and that made a huge difference. That's really when I started to really lose weight. So it was incredibly effective and it made a big difference. So
Yeah, we did like a 12-week coaching program,
mhm.
and during that we kind of come up with a 90-day plan, and well, in terms of goals and finding a motivator. We want to have long-term motivators, but then we want to have really specific motivators, something that's more shorter term, because that is the key to goal attainment, is really identifying a motivator. And then most importantly too is setting goals that are optimal and not idealistic. So I always say that in order to adopt a habit or change behavior, you have to implement. A lot of people try to adopt a healthy lifestyle, but it's the other way around. You have to look at your life, honor what you are, honor your own challenges and barriers, and then implement healthiness or healthy behaviors into your life. So it's the other way around. And that's how
Yeah.
you'll be able to do it longer term.
I can
And
I can remember very specific, like I remember talking with you about how once a week I was going into the office and there were Hershey's miniatures in the office. And
hmm. Hmm.
I remember you sort of being like, well, okay, what could you do about them?
Hmm.
And I started right in on like how I could avoid going to the kitchen stuff. And you were like,
Hmm.
well, you could also just eat some.
Hmm.
And I just remember being
Hmm.
like, yep, I could also just eat some. This is true, right? Like,
Hmm.
and so you were sort of meeting me where I was, and not being like everything is about deprivation and everything is about restriction. And it was sort of like, you know, and I don't know, there was something really freeing about being like, I could just eat some. And I think it helped me like not eat them. But so, but this is an example of how, we got very specific about what was the day-to-day challenges that I was facing and how to meet those. So we would talk big picture, but also get very, very specific as well. It was very helpful.
Absolutely. And I wanted to quickly just touch upon what you said, in terms of the avoiding things. I just have this aversion to not being able to have things like on a personal level. So because of that, and how I've been able to kind of overcome it, I find that, and it's kind of like the same with fear and anxiety about different situations or things. It's like follow it to the conclusion. Because and a lot of times when you follow it to the conclusion, it's not as bad as you thought it would be. And most importantly, you know that you'll survive no matter what it is. And then you'll just quickly get out of it. So if you indulge, then just reset. So I don't think that healthy lifestyles is accumulation of the time that you've avoided something. I think it's the time that you've been on track. And then you kind of look at it and score yourself, in a week, in a month. And you just want to get a passing grade. And then obviously if you're actively trying to reach your goal, the more you adhere to it, the faster you're going to get results. But when you're maintaining, you sort of wanted to, take an expansive view of your behavior and also allow for that, because having that and working through the feelings that come from veering off, um, is, I believe that that's where maintenance lies. It's being able to navigate the times when we're off track. So that's why I focus on that. Even if people are telling me that they're never gonna do something or whatever, I just know how it feels. And so I like to, and I also believe that that's why a lot of people are not able to maintain is because they can't process the feelings that come up when they veer off. Because a
Mm.
lot of times people have their perfectionists and all or nothing thinking. And so, like, being able to kind of um, adjust deliverables, that's the way I want people to look at nutrition. You're never on plan or off plan. You just adjust accordingly based on what you can deliver. So if you're on vacation, then obviously your deliverable is going to be less. And then when you have control of your environment, then your deliverable is going to be more. And so, honoring that and adjusting accordingly, and then being happy with whatever you're able to do and coming up with a plan to move forward. I think that is really the key to maintenance. It's not how well you um, avoid, it's how quickly you get back on track and how
Yep.
frequently.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you. Do you have any final words or anything like that? I really appreciate you meeting with me. I know that you're like private, so I'm actually kind of shocked, but I appreciate, your transformation is like I feel really good about that because I do feel that you're a very good person and just to feel like the lightness coming from you, that's the part that I mean the physical lightning, you look good and all
Yeah.
that. Look how you look with a baby face. But that is to me like the most like that's where I've sensed the biggest change and shift is just you being in your body and
Mhm.
just being so connected in your body. It's just so nice to see.
Yeah, it's made a huge difference. And I would say it's a bit of a virtuous cycle to other things in my life, just some other physical, other appearance things. Like, for example, I finally got Invisalign and fixed my teeth, and
Hmm.
things like that. But also, more importantly, my emotional health is better, my mental health is better. So I just feel, you know,
You
much more comfortable
feel
and
you feel
I
well
feel
taken
really well
care of.
taken care of. I do. But so I feel better in my skin and like all of the senses of the word, so or the phrase. So
Aw. Well, it's wonderful, and I'm glad that we're gonna continue the journey together because it's all about optimal health. And thank you so much for taking time to meet with me, Lucy. I appreciate it.
anytime.
All right, take care. And I love the red shirt, by the way, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your
Thanks.
evening.
Bye.
Bye bye. Take care.